Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. Really quickly, I did want to cover the South Carolina primary in which uh, former President Donald J. Trump, the Trumpster, totally dominated. This, of course, is Nikki Haley's, the state in which she was governor of, and it wasn't even close. Trump won by 30.3%. Just actually, no, 20.3%. Absolutely astonishing. It's funny that Ron DeSantis is still receiving some votes, and Vivek Ramaswamy, especially considering they have bowed out. But of course, people can still vote for who they want to vote for. Uh, you know, guys, the last video I did, I think it was covering the New Hampshire primary. Nikki needs to drop out. She does not have a viable path to victory. Donald Trump is obviously the candidate that the Republican Party or the conservative movement within America want to be their representative on the presidential level. I did see an article. Hopefully, let's see if it's still there. Uh, uh, Hopefully that's not true. Let's see what this says. Biden takes lead. That has not always been the case. In fact, Trump has been leading for quite a while now. Nikki Haley dominates Biden in polls. Why are Republican primary voters so stuck on Trump? It's very simple, guys, because Haley is not conservative, and actual conservatives don't want her. And therefore, she's more palatable to liberals. But in the end, it would not be good because it would essentially be, from the conservative point of view, having Joe Biden in office just slightly not as liberal, but pretty much essentially the same thing. So, that is why parties, by and large, and individuals who belong to those parties decide who the candidate is. Here's something I can't wrap my head around. Republicans have a sure thing in Nikki Haley, yet they can't move past Donald Trump. And I'm not even sure that that's true. I don't think she would win in general elections. So far, each primary state has chosen the former president over the former South Carolina governor and U.S. ambassador in the United Nations by a lot. South Carolina, Haley's home state, proved no different today. Haley preempted calls for her to step aside last week by giving a speech in which she said she would stay in the race at least through Super Tuesday on March 5th, when 16 states and territories vote. My state of Michigan votes this Thursday. And then it says Haley keeps trouncing Biden in polls. A recent poll from Marquette Law School found that in a general election matchup against President Joe Biden, Haley would blow him out of the water by 16 points, 58% to 42%. Compare that with Trump's 2-point lead over Biden. I just don't think that that's true, because so many of the people who voted for Trump, like I would say at least half of them, if not more, if Trump was not the nominee, they would not vote for Nikki Haley. She would miss out on a massive contingent of votes. I don't think they would be able to wrap themselves to the idea of choosing her as the next president. There was another article that I saw from Vox about this. Unfortunately, it looks like it's not still there. This is interesting, though. Let's see if maybe it's down here. Every single time, like, I see an article that sparks my interest on this that's provided by Microsoft, and then it goes away. They don't have it anymore. It's fucking bullshit. Um, oops. But let's see. Maybe it's down here. I could probably just type it in. It was from Vox, but let's go ahead and click this. CPAC poll reveals I'm not down with this. I don't want Trump to pick a female. If Trump does this, it's going to be yet another example of the conservative movement, Republicans just driving the speed limit compared to liberals, but they are basically liberals just a few years behind. No, conservative principles are conservative principles, and they remain the same no matter what. That is the nature of conservatism. So here I found this is a Vox article. The South Carolina primary was a joke. It tells us something deadly serious. Deadly serious. You know, other than this, I really don't read any articles because nowadays within America, every single article and YouTube video, and I'm guilty of it myself, is just simmered with that clickbait sauce, that clickbait total hysteria type title, and at least 70% of the time, totally arbitrary percentage, it has nothing to do with the article, touches very little upon what the title says. Trump's inevitable romp-a-domp-domp to victory in Nikki Haley's home state reveals how strong his hold on the GOP is and how dangerous he remains to democracy. Wow. They're still going with that narrative. Fucking give me a break, dude. These people are such self-righteous assholes. They are just scum, honestly. But this same person will defend people like Joe Biden and people within the Democrat Party and even neocons that do absolutely abhorrent and corrupt things. But that's what you guys need to realize is, you know, this whole idea and concept that America has like people or a system that operates on what needs to be done and what should be done. And no, they would never do that. They would never consider. That's bullshit. Since the beginning of time, people have been operating based off of their own self-interest and what will give them more power and strength and they will do and money. Power corrupts almost all the time, and people have been doing it since the dawn of time. Have you guys ever read an article or a book about the old courts in the monarchy? I mean, it's been going on from the beginning of time. People have a fallen nature. So if you think that anybody, any politician is above it, you're sadly mistaken. And so this self-righteous garbage, I cannot stand. Tonight in the South Carolina Republican presidential primary, Donald Trump defeated rival Nikki Haley in her home state. Ordinarily, this might feel like big news as the Palmetto State tends to host one of the most important early contests. Joe Biden's 2020 victory in the state after dismal finishes in Iowa and New Hampshire is one of the biggest reasons he's president today. But the vote feels irrelevant. The 2024 Republican Party isn't and never has been a competitive primary. Trump simply wasn't going to lose a contest for the hearts and minds of the Republican base ideologically, psychologically, even spiritually. It's the Trump party through and through. Yeah, I agree completely. Well, it is, but there's a lot of us, especially more paleo-conservative minded, who like certain things about Trump, but we see him as a tool to initiate the change that we want to see. We don't see. That's where liberals get it wrong. They think that all conservatives see Trump as this demagogue that we will support no matter what, regardless of what, and think he is this the best leader that has ever graced God's earth. That's not the case, but he is a tool to implement what we want to see done. And he also makes the establishment quite annoyed and quite angry. And that's also very appealing for us to see. I and others have been arguing this for years now. Yet during those same years, many prominent people in politics and the media deluded themselves into thinking he might be dethroned. Dothraki. They have been wrong every time and continued to be wrong long after the strength of Trump's grip on the GOP could not be denied. Could not be denied. There's a lesson to be learned from this track record of failure, one deeper than just Republicans really like Donald Trump. Trump's persistence tells us something critical about the nature of the current Republican Party and why it's become such a danger to American democracy. Wow, this is getting spicy. I can't read it. Can't wait to. I can't read to wait to. Yeah, I can't read, guys. I can't wait to read what they have next. All right, let's keep reading what this spicy article has next. I will say it is very interesting to see into the mindset of these types of people because for me personally, I think so oppositely that to be given insight is sometimes worth it. How Trump keeps wiggling his way out of jams. We're going into the Slam Jam. Welcome to the Space Jam. It's your chance. Do your dance on the stage. Yeah. All right. Ever I actually, hey, fool, what you gonna do? Man, you guys remember that movie? Ever since the early stages of the 2016 GOP primary, the same pattern has repeated itself over and over again. I keep replaying it over and over again. Some new development that looked politically dangerous for Trump ends up not mattering at all. This happened so many times in the 2016 election cycle alone that it became a running joke during the campaign. That is true. That's a great point. It's probably the best thing that this person said in this entire article. JF says, at Bronzel Lammer, well, I'd like to see if Donald Trump I'd like to see old Donnie Trump wriggle his way out of this jam. Trump wriggles his way out of this jam easily. Well, nevertheless. This pattern continued through Trump's presidency and mostly strikingly after the event when Trump managed to maintain majority support in the Republican Party after inciting an honest-to-God connection and election. At that point, you'd think it would be obvious that Trump was going to cruise to renomination in 2024, yet somehow the delusions of a Trump collapse persisted. During the meetings in summer 2022, there was widespread speculation that the dramatic public hearings had weakened Trump's hold on the GOP. Republican primary voters proceeded to disprove this theory by booting the House members who voted for his impeachment and nominating full MAGA election deniers like Arizona's Kari Lake to contest her swing races around the country. These candidates performed poorly in the 2022 midterms, while Florida Governor Ron DeSantis cruised to re-election. Yeah, because of the backing that Trump gave him. And yes, he was doing some good things in his state that at the time made him really popular because the people within the state saw the other states and how they were doing, and they were like, thank God we have a governor like this. Thank God we have a governor with just a little bit of sense. But head to head, they still like Trump. I mean, that's just what it is. This led many observers to see DeSantis as a possible Trump killer, with some going so far as to anoint DeSantis the front runner in early 2023. Soon after that, DeSantis poll numbers collapse. After the DeSantis train collapsed, Trump's skeptics crowned Haley the next anti-Trump Republican hope. She secured the critical funding from Americans for Prosperity Action, the political arm of the Koch empire in November. raising the Haley hype to surprising heights going into 2024. In mid-January, prominent pundit Jonathan Rauch gave Haley roughly a 40% chance to win the primary, adding that the odds might shift in her favor quickly. Then she lost by double digits in her supposed stronghold of New Hampshire, and the writing was on the wall in great big bold letters. Loser! None of the speculation tracked Trump's poll numbers. The former president consistently led in the polling averages, generally by wide margins. So why did so many get this so wrong? Because most people are idiots, including you. Most people are fucking stupid, especially in the media, okay? They are so disconnected from what average people think and the average citizen thinks. They have no clue. Sometimes the explanation is mundane, wish casting. Centrist or anti-Trump Republicans desperately wishing to avoid a choice between a threat to democracy and a Democrat. But in some cases, there's a more interesting explanation that even some of the GOP's critics didn't fully appreciate what it had become. New York Magazine's Jonathan Chait, one of the more perceptive of these critics, was an early booster of DeSantis' chances. In August last year, he admitted that he had gotten it wrong and wrote an interesting column trying to explain why he erred. Chait's basic argument is that Trump's cult of personality was far more powerful than he had appreciated. Oh, right. Yeah, because it's a cult now. That's why. To provide an explanation for my stupidity, it's because they're cult members. Yeah, that's it. Defeating Trump in a contest determining who can most effectively advance ideological party goals is difficult but attainable. It is obviously important to defeat Trump in a contest. Who is the most loyal to Trump? Again and again, let's just get to the bottom. Again and again, social scientists found that the best predictor of Trump's support among Republican voters is the degree to which they feel discomfort with the changing nature of American demographics and social norms. Trump has sold himself as the only person capable of fighting back against the alleged elite conspiracy behind these changes, saying things like, I alone can fix it, and I am your retribution. From those building blocks, he has created a full-scale political movement dedicated to reconquering America. Trump's appeal isn't premised on delivering concrete policy goals, nor even owning the libs with high-profile stunts. It is about assuaging the sense of fear and resentment at their America being replaced, about achieving victories that assuaging. It's either assuaging or assuage the sense of psychological assault created by things like mass immigration, a black president, shifting gender roles, and a beloved beer brand cutting an ad with a hands influencer. Yeah, the thing is, guys, is yes. So in reality, we have two different movements going on in America. There is the elites in the direction that they're trying to take us. And yes, there are the NPCs that follow them as they would follow anybody who is in power. And then there's those among us who really get what's going on and see the downfalls and pitfalls of that worldview and pushing of that sort of society. And that's really what you got going on. The normal average citizen, by and large, not all of them, okay? I'm talking about the ones that get it. And yes, it's a good amount. It's not all of them, but it's a good portion versus the elite establishment who are so disconnected from reality and society that are trying to take America to a place that supposedly in a democracy that we supposedly have, a lot of citizens do not want us to go, okay? It's that simple. And the tides are changing. I mean, if you look at the establishment media and what they talk about, and you look at the media that exists on YouTube and more digital platforms, it's night and day. It's night and day. Because the digital platform, there's more freedom to think and have individual thought. And no, they don't like it. The experiment has been tried and it has been left wanting. Okay. The society has led to degeneracy, mass homelessness, uh, historical rates of people on drugs, fatherless homes, people being men being incarcerated at high numbers. If they're not incarcerated, they're druggies. If they're not druggies, they're total weaklings who end up cutting their penis off. Okay, I mean, it's a problem. All right, and then women being on massive amounts of medication, being totally lonely, and there's no end in sight for that either. It's going to continue to get worse until it gets better, because so many of them are so firmly entrenched in that mindset that it's going to be nearly impossible to bring them in mass out of it. Okay. Donald Trump as a figure represents the America they know and love. His victories are their victories, his defeats their defeats. I can agree with that a little bit. The South Carolina primaries irrelevance points to the deeper and darker story. It was one we must wrestle with in order to truly appreciate the stakes in the coming general election. So essentially, that's why essentially what this person is getting at is the enormous importance of Trump being defeated by the Democrat candidate. So, yes, I mean, that is absolutely what it is, guys. It is the ruling class, the elites, that are trying to take society and America a certain way, away from religion, Christianity, nuclear family, communities in general, to a more government dependent, totally chastised and neutered society, where women are complete whores and sluts and having babies out of wedlock, and men are cutting their penises off, because a public that is that way, neutered, disheveled, weak, in a democracy, makes it easier on them to ultimately fulfill the type of society that they want to have be. So, and there are those of us who are still attuned to this. And there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us. How you know there's a lot of us is how popular usually the top videos out there, conservative and red pill and manosphere content creators are, because there is a lot of us. And the one thing that will derail their plans that they don't see is God instilled human beings with a natural sense of spirituality and a longing for a belief in a creator above, and love from that creator. So they will find their way back to it. Nonetheless, what I started this video with, Donald Trump is the winner of the South Carolina primary, totally dominated. Nikki Haley should bow out. Obviously, she won't. She is losing money left, right, and center. Pretty much likely all of her major donors are gone. Let's see. Hold on. What's the overview? 2024 Republican. So Trump has 110 delegates. Nikki Haley has 20. So, all right, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow and facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Hope you guys had a fantastic Sunday. Hope you all went to church, had a great day. And last but not least, Christ is King. DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. Already said that. Love you guys. See you kings next time. Peace.